Hi Adrian.
Hi Alan.
So you wanted to see me today to have a session on your 360 degree, yeah?
Yeah.
So your 360 degree feedback. So obviously we've done some training in the company, so you're familiar with the coaching. So you see, you want to explore all that with me here today, yeah?
Yeah, I guess I just absolutely have to explore it because since you guys were in last, there has been a few developments, and I went for the interview for the area manager.
Okay.
And I got turned down.
Okay.
And I to be totally honest with you, I was completely shocked. I pretty much assumed I was going to get that job.
All right.
Others around me that were talking to me were pretty much assuming that I was going to get that job.
Right.
And there's a whole lot of reasons why that assumption was there. It wasn't just a kind of a silly assumption or anything like that. There was reasons why we assumed that.
Yeah.
And since that happened, and I would say that's probably about 3 months ago, let's say. I've got to be honest, I found it really, really difficult to motivate myself in work,
right.
And to keep on track, and a lot of other things as well that has been brought up as a result of a 360 degree feedback that was done probably a few weeks after that interview, which I suppose it is giving me feedback that it doesn't make any sense to me.
It doesn't make any sense?
No.
Okay. Alright. So you went for this manager position and you didn't get it, but you were expecting to get it.
Yeah.
So you're shocked, disappointed that hasn't happened. And all the indications were that this was going to happen, you were going to get the job. Yeah?
Well, from my perspective.
From your perspective.
Absolutely. I mean, I was the top dog basically in retail management. I'm a retail manager in one of in the flagship store,
right?
In the company, and the sales are always the best, and that has been always the case. And I've been there for probably I think it's nearly 3 years,
right.
which from my own perspective, because I'm quite ambitious and from my own perspective, that's way too long to be operating as a retail manager. You know, I need to be moving up the ladder.
Right. Okay.
And so when that happened, it was a complete shock to me. And then a couple of weeks later, we had the 360 degree feedback thing. And when I got the feedback from that, it was really a double whammy.
Okay. So and you said it doesn't make sense to you. So tell me what was the feedback? Tell me about the feedback.
Look, it's madness really, because in the feedback it appears that the staff in my store seem to have major problems with me. As in they seem to what they're saying about me doesn't correlate with what they're saying to me on an everyday basis. There's no correlation at all.
Can you give me an example of that?
Well, they're effectively calling me a bully.
Okay. What do you mean effectively calling you a bully? Are they calling you a bully? Is that on the feedback or
the word bully hasn't been used?
Okay.
But you wouldn't need to be a rocket scientist to figure out that's what they're actually saying with the comments that's being made. Like, for example, I don't listen very well. I don't care for their needs. I don't have any interest in them personally. I work them way too hard.
Right.
I keep them longer than they should be there.
Right.
I don't let them. I don't give them privileges that other staff members in other shops get. I don't allow them any leeway. This is all the kind of stuff that they're saying to me.
What are you saying about that? Are you saying that that's not true, or you said that it doesn't make sense to you? So what's your issue with this feedback?
Well, I suppose there's a few different issues, but one of the basic issues is as a result of the way I manage my team.
Yeah.
We have always got the highest ratings in terms of sales.
as a result of the way you manage them.
Yes, I mean, so if I wasn't doing what I was doing,
Right.
we wouldn't be getting those results. So hearing this stuff back, it's just rubbish at home, to be honest, because it's not like I'm a lunatic that goes in every morning with a whip and bash them around the place.
Sure, but at the same time, it is feedback that has come through a 360-degree mechanism. So to call it rubbish seems a bit strong. So I'm wondering about how you can dismiss it as rubbish.
Quite simply because it doesn't make any sense. In other words, if people want a free ride, let them, get another job or do or not do any job. But I mean, they're in every day, and I have them working well, hard, in order to get the results. So you work hard, you get your results. It's very straightforward. They don't seem to want to do anything. And in terms of the feedback, quite honestly, I don't get this 360-degree feedback stuff at all. It's supposed to be kind of a really good idea, but from my perspective, all it allows is a forum for people to vent their feelings. They might as well be tweeting. It's just a forum to vent their feelings.
Okay, so if that's the feedback and you don't accept it, what are you looking to get from it then?
Okay, here's the problem around it. I mean, I guess if there was no, consequences as a result of the feedback and the actual thing that was done, then I probably, the only thing that would be happening is I'd be lashing them even more. I mean,
okay.
they really know what it's like to have someone who's working them hard. Unfortunately for me, as a result of this, and I had one of my area managers and someone from HR sat down with me in looking over this briefly, and pretty much pointed out to me that unless there was major changes, pretty much immediately, that I wouldn't have a chance, and there would be no point in me even applying for the next area manager role, which is coming up in about 2 to 3 months.
Okay, and in terms of changes, what were they looking for?
Well, it was quite brief, but they went through the various kind of headings for the feedback, and they didn't just do with my staff. It was with my peers and also with my area managers, or the area managers of the company.
Yeah.
So it was a full 360 thing, I suppose. And whereas the feedback from my peers seems to be pretty okay. I mean, there doesn't seem to be anything that stands out. The feedback from my staff and the feedback from my area managers is pretty woeful.
Okay, so you've feedback that's not positive from your area managers as well. Well, what's the type of feedback there?
This is what gets me. We're trained with the idea that the thing that's important is sales, getting the highest sales, and we've targets all the time. Every month we've targets,
right.
And I have consistently hit those targets.
Yeah.
So I kind of find it a bit demeaning and degrading to think that the area managers don't seem to be focusing on what they say are the most important things, and seem to be focusing on other things, which are all negative.
But what are they saying? What's the feedback they're giving you?
They're basically saying I have a tendency to do solo runs, to do things on my own rather than checking in with them, that anything that's agreed, say in meetings, because we have a meeting, a monthly meeting with our area manager, and then every couple of months all the area managers are kind of involved, and they're basically saying that stuff that's agreed at the meeting, that I go off and do something different. and they seem to have a problem with that, an issue with that. And they also say other things like that I don't listen to my peers in those meetings, that I seem to put them down and dismiss them, and I seem to hog the sessions or the meetings with my own opinions. It's hard to take, to be honest with you.
It's hard to take.
Yeah.
Okay, what makes it hard to take?
It's all negative. I mean, they're not focusing on the positive stuff. They're just picking up the negative stuff and focusing on that, and basically telling me that I don't even need to apply for the next area manager job because I won't have a chance of getting it unless there's huge changes.
Okay, fine. So you have all this feedback that you don't like.
Well, it's not that I don't like.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. Like, it's clear. Like, that's what I'm saying about this 360 thing. It's just a forum for people to vent their feelings. It doesn't make any sense. You know, I mean, I work hard. I'm ambitious. I want to go further up the ladder, and I don't want to be hanging around simply because other people are saying, I don't like the way you do this, and I don't like the way you do that, and you shouldn't be doing this, and you shouldn't be doing that. That doesn't get results.
So, okay, just to sort of go back to what you said there in terms of it doesn't make sense and you don't get it and so on. What do you think is behind all that then? In terms of all this feedback that you're getting that you're struggling with clearly, what do you think is behind it all?
And there's one area which I didn't mention. There's one area manager, or one area manager who has always had something against me, and I have a feeling that he's behind this. And he's always, since I came into the job, we've clashed every single time we've met. We've clashed, and he's made it clear that he basically doesn't like me. He doesn't like the way I do things, and he's pretty rude to me, to be honest. But I know that his mate got that job that I went for, that everybody thought it was a shoe-in.
Okay, so you suspect that this guy's behind all the feedback that you're getting that's negative?
Well, okay, in the way you put it, he's not behind all the feedback that's negative, but somebody's behind this. Someone is behind. There's no way that I shouldn't have gotten that job. There's just no way I shouldn't have gotten that job. And if I thought it was my staff that were to blame for that, you know, really, they would be war.
There will be war.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And there's no way that I'd tolerate that if I thought they were to blame for it. But I actually don't think they have the power to do that.
So you said to me that you believe in driving your staff hard to get the results that you see are essential to get, yeah?
Absolutely.
So and the feedback that you're getting from your staff is that you're a hard taskmaster, yeah? That seems to sum it up to largely that you're very tough and strict and so on.
Yeah.
So the feedback seems to be accurate, going by what you're telling me about how you perceive your role.
They need to bring themselves into the real world. It's a hard world. If they want to get results, they can't be coming in smoking and going on coffee breaks every few minutes.
I'm not arguing with you on that. All I'm saying is that the feedback you're getting from your direct reports, your team, seems to be reflecting the way you are actually managing and going by what you're telling me. So you know, because of that, I'm wondering then, how does that not make sense?
Okay, what doesn't make sense is that I'm being pulled up for getting good results. That's what doesn't make sense.
You're being pulled up for getting good results?
Yes.
Okay, so you're getting good results with sales and you're being pulled up on what issue? The issue, where are you being pulled up?
Well, on with this feedback, you know, before this feedback came, there was the shoe-in for me for this role, which everybody seemed to think was going to happen.
Right.
My staff, and now that I think about it, they were probably more disappointed than I was.
Okay.
You know, but tough on them. But so everything seemed to be going to plan.
Right.
Then that happened. And then following on from that, we had this 360-degree feedback thing, and suddenly The noise are out.
But okay, but what are you being pulled up on? Tell me what you specifically, what do you believe you're being pulled up on?
On the way I get the results that I get.
So on the way, on the way you manage people?
Well, it appears to be that, yeah.
And the role you want to go for as a manager?
I want to keep going higher. So the next step in the ladder is area manager, and I see myself as the obvious person to be there.
Sure. So the only roadblock really for you in terms of getting that is changing the way you manage your team at the moment, but also changing the way you communicate with with the people around you, basically, because your area manager is telling you, and the feedback from other area managers has been quite negative also. So there would seem to be connections in terms of just simply how you relate to your colleagues at different levels in the workplace.
Okay.
You know, in terms of black and white, would that be fair to say? Whether you can justify your that or not, I'm not. That's not what I'm asking you. I'm just asking you, on the face of it, is that a fair comment?
Okay, certainly. Yeah, I guess it is. It's a fair comment. Working off the feedback.
Okay.
Yes.
So if we just keep it sort of simple and black and white, as it were, that's the feedback. Let's just look at the feedback as objective and just fact, right?
It's not objective feedback, but they know who they're saying it about. This is not objective. This is completely subjective and a chance to get at me.
Okay. Well, think of it this way: what you want. What do you want in the long run? In all of this, what do you want?
I want to go up the ladder. I think I'm good enough. I know I'm good enough.
Okay.
I want to get the rewards that the work that I put in deserves,
right,
and the results bear it out.
So you know what you want.
Yes.
What do you have to do to get it?
Well, according to these guys, I have to make huge changes in a very short period of time.
Okay, specifically, what do you have to do to get it?
Okay, if I was to embrace the feedback and take on board all the stuff that everybody's saying, and change the way I communicate with people,
right,
and change the way I manage people, and change the way I am at meetings with people. If by doing that,
yeah,
I was still able to get the same results that I've been getting, and therefore be able to get the area manager's job, then, you know, if that's the only way to do it, then that's the only way it has to be done. The problem for me is, even if I do what I'm being asked to do,
yeah,
and I don't even know how the hell I'm going to do that, but even if I was to do that,
yeah,
there is no guarantee that someone else in there, or the same area manager again, which I'm sure stopped me from getting the last one, won't do it again.
Yeah.
So what is the point?
yeah, okay. But apart from the fact that there's no guarantee, which of course there's no guarantee, but you what you're saying is that if you want to get what you want, you know what you need to do, which is to change the way you're interacting with the people around you, to manage your team differently, to communicate with the area managers and your peers differently. That is the only way that you're going to increase your chances of getting the outcome you want, or the result you want. Whether you like it or not is a separate issue, right? I'm not looking at that. Let me just throw something at you and put this into a context that might make some sense to you, all right?
Okay.
So, if you think about, this is a very simple equation, right? So we have here S, I'll just move the chair here for a sec, plus R equals E, right? So this S stands for stimulus plus response equals experience. Okay?
Okay.
Now, what that's saying, very simply, is that we experience a stimulus, external, internal. It could be someone saying something to us. It could be the weather. It could be a car crash. It could be a lovely piece of music. Anything. Or it could be a thought, or a feeling, an emotion, panic attack, or a feeling of peacefulness, whatever. That's a stimulus. And the way we respond to that stimulus will determine how we experience it, will determine the quality of our experience in any moment, right? So in other words, for example, take for example a simple one like the weather. You get up one morning and it's raining, right? And you look out the window and you immediately, for most people, they'll have a reaction to the rain. They react to the rain and say, oh, what a miserable day, or oh man, I have to walk or I have to cycle in that weather. So for a lot of people, they react to that and it puts them in a mood that maybe is a bit annoyed or somewhat sort of narky or down or whatever. Some people can get really affected, allow themselves to get really affected by the weather. So their experience, so the stimulus is rain, and their experience is feeling down or feeling annoyed or disappointed.
That's it. I hate rain.
Yeah, sure.
I hate rain, so, because there's loads of things I can't do when it's raining. So, I mean, I'd certainly be bloody annoyed, I can tell you.
Okay, so annoyance will be your experience if the stimulus was rain, right? But what happened? What's the cause of that annoyance for you? Your experience of annoyance. What caused that?
The rain.
That's what people.
It's raining. I want to go off and play golf, or I want to go out and do something, and it's raining.
No.
So that's what causes it.
It's not actually. What causes it is how you respond to the rain. So you have no control over the stimulus. None. It happens. It's raining.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah. Unfortunately, if it had, there's never rain.
Yeah, so in other words, a stimulus is something that's in motion. It's happening. It's in our experience. It's there. It's happening. We really have no control over that at all. But we have absolute control. Certainly, I suppose within reason, depending on your level of self-awareness. But you've up to 100% control in terms of how you respond to the stimulus, and how you respond to that stimulus will determine the quality of your experience relative to the stimulus. So whether it's raining or sunshine or snow or storm, that how you respond to that is completely up to you.
Yeah. So it's raining. I want to go for a game of golf. It's absolutely lashing rain. So I look out the window, see the rain, and I think, okay, I have to pretend it's actually not raining, or pretend that this rain is not going to affect how I'm going to enjoy my game of golf. And just play games.
No. You don't pretend anything. You just look at the situation, and it's up to you to decide. You make the decision how you're going to feel about this. In other words, look at it from the end result. Like I was doing with you in terms of you want to be a manager. Yeah. How do you want to experience the day? Do you want to be in a good mood or do you want to be in a bad mood?
I want to have a great game of golf.
Fine. So in other words, you want to enjoy the day.
Yeah.
Right. So what's stopping you from enjoying the day?
The rain?
No, it's not. The rain is there. It's already happening. You still have a choice. And the choice is, how am I going to respond to that?
Look, you know yourself, some people, I mean, I go with some people and it's lashing rain and they seem to love it. You know, maybe they should have been ducks, or maybe they were ducks in previous incarnations or something. But they seem to love it. I don't. Yeah. And I'm not the only one. A lot of other people don't either. Yeah. So I get that they can go out in the rain and not be affected by it, and they can have a great game of golf.
Yeah.
I have to say, when it's raining and I'm out there, I just, everything, every shot that goes wrong, everything that happens, I blame the rain because I just feel uncomfortable, miserable. Yes. So I mean, I know what you're saying in terms of the response. I get it. I mean, I've read stuff about stimulus and response before. I remember we had training in the 7 habits of highly effective people a few years ago.
Right.
And it was a very interesting book. So I've heard of that idea before, but I'm not sold on it because, I mean, it has affected my day. So you're saying to me that it doesn't have to, that I can look at the rain and say, oh no, it's raining. This could be a terrible day unless I decide not to make it that way. unless I decide that I can't do anything about the rain, and if I want to go out and enjoy the golf, then I must decide that that's what I'm going to do.
Well, who else is going to decide for you? How else are you going to get out of a mood that would otherwise be a reaction? You see the rain, you're automatically giving out. You don't even think about it. It's pure reaction. It's habit. And what I'm saying is, you're jumping straight from stimulus to experience, out of habit, out of conditioning in the past. The challenge here is to realise or to remember you actually have you actually have space to respond differently to what's going on. Yes, it's raining, and okay, logically you may think, why would I want it to rain? Why would I like it to rain when I want to go out and play golf? Logically, that makes sense.
Okay.
But practically speaking, you still have control over how you want to respond to the fact that it's raining. That is completely up to you. It doesn't have to be the same old way. You don't have to respond, or you don't have to react at all. You can actually take a moment and say, well, I'm not going to let it bother me. I can still be in a good mood. I'm in control of my mood. I'm in control of how I want to feel. Otherwise you're at the mercy of the rain. You're at the mercy of every stimulus around you will dictate how you experience your life, rather than the other way around. The experiences you want in life are up to you and are all about how you respond. So if you bring it to the workplace, right?
Yeah.
The stimulus for you is the feedback you got. You have no control over that in terms of it was there, you have it,
Yeah.
it's in your face,
Right.
right? Your experience of that was very negative in terms of you didn't like it. You resisted it, you rejected it completely, and you're angry about it and frustrated about it. So your experience with the feedback has been to date stressful for you, I suppose, maybe.
Yeah. Awful.
Right. And that's completely down to how you've been responding to it. Not to the fact that it is, not to the actual feedback. The feedback is just feedback, it's just information. How you respond to that is completely up to you. I'm not saying you have to like it. All I'm saying is you don't have to choose the response you're making at the moment, which is to completely blank it, to reject it, to dismiss it, and to blame others for the feedback.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I mean, I think I understand what you're saying. I think I get that. It still, okay. It still leaves me extremely annoyed that I'm being dismissed in the way I'm being dismissed, and that the work that I've put in that has gotten the results for the company. Now, okay, the company's got the results, but I thought I was going to as well in terms of getting promotions. It still leaves me very annoyed that seems to be passed over, and it's like as if I actually can't do anything about it. So they're picking at all the bad things that I do, and labeling me with that. They don't notice the good stuff, or at least they don't appear to. And where's all that gone? And yeah, I think I understand what you're saying about the response. But jeez, if I was to try and respond, if I was to try and respond differently, or do what they're saying, and if I was to be real nice and soft on my staff, nothing will get done, Owen. They're a bunch of slackers. And if I wasn't working them hard, we'd be way down the bottom, probably.
Okay. And this you know how?
Which?
That they're a bunch of slackers and that they do nothing if you want driving them hard.
Most of them are slackers, so they're all slackers.
They're all slackers.
I'd say to them when I go into other shops, other stores, I'd go in, and sure, they'd be out chatting with their mates.
Right.
They're on the phones themselves. So they're on a coffee break, they're on a smoke break.
Okay. So you see your team as slackers.
Given half a chance, I'm telling you, They're doing nothing.
Okay, so here's the scenario then, right? The way you're presenting that. Your team are the stimulus. They're a bunch of people working for you. That's a stimulus. That's a stimulus in your environment. It's there, and the experience you're getting you could argue that the feedback is the experience you're getting as a result of the stimulus, and it's largely it's completely because of the way you're responding to the stimulus. So in other words, the stimulus is the staff.
Yeah.
Your response to the staff is to see them as slackers. And that if you take your foot off the pedal, if you ease up on them at all, they will end up doing nothing, and sales will drop dramatically. So your response is to drive them really hard, be very strict, and I suppose domineering, which is maybe my word, but it sounds a bit like there's that going on. You can correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, I'm your boss.
Okay, and the experience for you, or one experience for you as a result of that, is the nature of the feedback you're getting from them. So if you and incidentally, the feedback in itself then becomes a stimulus, like we said already, right? And you don't like the feedback, your response to feedback is to resist it, and so so the experience then becomes is then a frustration and anger, as we're saying. So what's going on here is a loop, and it's all being fed by the way you're responding to the stimuli about you. And if you know what you want, which you do, which is the manager, the position of manager, area manager.
Yeah.
What is the stimulus at the moment is the fact that you're being told you need to make changes and the feedback. So that's the stimulus at the moment. That's what's happening at the moment.
Yeah.
And you know what you want. The response you need to make to increase the likelihood of getting the outcome you want, or the result of the experience you want. What's the response you need to make?
Okay, I mean, there's actions set out in the 360-degree feedback that tells me what I need to do.
Okay.
The problem is, I don't know how in the name of God I'm actually going to do this, because I've never done this. I've always been like this. I've always believed in hard work. I've always hated people getting away with doing half nothing and then still taking credit. I've always hated that. And I've always had a very strong work ethic. And it seems like I'm being asked to change all of that, or a lot of that. And yes, I do want to get this. Yes, I want that job. I do not want to remain retail manager.
So can I ask you this? Is it possible to both at the same time have that strong work ethic, achieving high results, high expectations, tied in with respecting the people working for you in achieving those high results? Are those two compatible in your mind?
They probably are on paper.
What do you mean?
In theory.
So you don't see them as compatible?
I would need a lot of help, I've got to be honest with you, because I know the type of personality I am. And I find it very difficult to go back into work tomorrow or next week into the store and suddenly start changing the way I'm interacting with these people, start being really nice to them.
Okay, well, you don't go from one extreme to the other. So if keep in mind the experience you want, which is to both have more positive feedback so as you can become a manager, right? What is it that you could begin to change based on the suggestions that have been given to you in the feedback? What could you begin to change that would show that you actually can manage people effectively without being, as you said at the very beginning, a bully?
Well, I've had I suppose something that I didn't tell you. Since the feedback, I've been so absolutely disgusted with the feedback and frustrated and annoyed that I've actually found it very difficult to have any motivation in work at all. So So I've got to be honest with you, leaving aside every other thing that we've been talking about,
Right.
If they were to decide on the results over the 3 months or 4 months or whatever between the feedback and the next interview process,
Right.
I wouldn't have a hope of getting it, because I've really taken the foot off the pedal. I go in, I find it even difficult to go in to work, because I nearly see it as being pointless.
So again, the stimulus being the feedback, your response to it has been to actually slacken off, to take your foot off the pedal, to almost not to stop being driven, to sort of lose any sort of heart in your work.
It's like as if the plug has been pulled out.
The plug has been plugged out, and so that's the response you've given to the stimulus. And what's the result of that? What's the experience of that?
I hate the job. I hate going in every day. There's nothing nice happening. My goal, or what I've always wanted,
Right.
seems to be almost impossible at this point.
Right. Okay. So in other words, you're getting the experience. You're getting experiences you don't want based on the way you're responding to the reality of the situation, to the stimulus of the feedback itself.
Well, you're very hard to respond differently. I mean, it's dreadful stuff that's been said.
Okay.
I mean, it's very difficult to just change.
I know that. I'm not doubting that for 1 second. You wouldn't need to be here, for example. But you know what you want, yes? You still want the area manager, is that true?
I want the area manager because it's the next step, and then I want to get the next step and the next step. And honestly, if someone could walk in now and say to me, there isn't absolutely any chance that you're going to get this,
Yeah.
I would leave the job.
Okay, but that hasn't happened. You have been given feedback, and you have been given guidance as to what needs to happen for you to be within a good chance of getting the next job. Yeah. So it's not as if people have written you off. They have given you feedback that you don't like, but that to some degree is irrelevant. It's just feedback, right? And it's up to you what you do with it. It's completely up to you what you do with it. You know, it's your responsibility how you deal with this, totally, and you know that. So if you want what you say you want, something has to change. So how badly do you want it to make the type of changes that you're aware you need to make?
I want it,
Yeah?
or I'm out. And the problem is, what I'm being asked to do,
Yeah.
in the short period of time I've been asked to do it,
Yeah.
to me it looks impossible. And I sat down with my area manager, or rather she sat down with me, 2 or 3 times I guess since that feedback.
Yeah.
And now I get on fairly well with her, and I like her. We have a pretty good working relationship, although maybe we haven't. Maybe that's another myth in my head. But we seem to get on fairly well. She's a very different way of dealing with people than I have. And I guess if I was able to be like her,
Right.
I'd have no problem implementing all these changes.
So okay.
Because she's soft-spoken, she gets on well with everybody. She's, everyone likes to see her when she comes in. She's a friendly face. She smiles a lot. All nice stuff. And in fairness, and I've talked to her about this kind of stuff, and I know that she got to area manager, and she says that she was like that when she was a retail manager. And so she's saying to me, you can be nice and still get the results.
Okay.
And I do have time for her, I do listen to her, but at the same time, that's not who I am.
Yeah.
And that's my.
So you don't have to be her, but what could you do? What could you do for you that could bring about the type of change you need to bring for you?
Oh, I don't know. If I was able to get rid of all the anger and frustration that's going around, and vengeance, oh man, would I like to get people back.
Okay.
There's a whole load of stuff going around inside me, and that's one of the reasons why I just can't even focus on my job anymore. And as I'm listening to you talking, and I'm trying to figure out what in the name of God I can do differently. How can I change anything? I do know that there's a couple of things that was going on at home between myself and my wife, and we're having the same kind of arguments on an ongoing basis, and it wasn't good for either of us, and I have actually been able to change that. Okay. Because I realised that yes, she's not going to change, and that so I've managed to change, the way the conversation was going.
How?
Well, there'd be stuff going on, and she'd be angry and I'd be angry. She thinks she's right, I think I'm right, and we end up in yet another ice age.
Okay, yeah. Okay,
which is not good. Not good for me, not good for her. And it's like as if neither one of us can do anything about it. So I have actually recently realised, it was only last week I think,
right,
when this happened, where at the very beginning of it, or just after the start of the conversation, if you call it that, I realised that here we go again, and I didn't want ice age.
Okay.
So I actually stopped myself from getting angry and from needing to be right.
Okay.
Or whatever, and changed the conversation, and we didn't have an ice age.
What did you have?
Well, I can't go into that here, but it was much better than ice age.
So in other words, you, by changing your response to the conversation you were having with your wife, you got a very different experience.
Yes.
The experience was not the ice age; it was something more positive.
Yeah.
And that was down to you changing your response to the stimulus, which was the argument you were having with your wife.
Yeah.
Which was already ongoing. So it was a stimulus, and you knew if this kept going, there was going to be the experience was not going to be good. You could see where it was going. So you made a different choice. You came in and you responded differently, which created a whole new experience.
Yeah, but I love my wife, so there's something that I can do.
So it makes it easier for you to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So what's going to make it easier for you to do something similar with your direct reports, with your team and the area managers? Rather than focusing on the vengeance and the anger and all that, which is just a stimulus inside you, and you respond to that by staying stuck in it, and it just keeps you doing what you're doing, the experience of keeping the foot off the pedal and resenting and being angry. So that's a loop you're stuck in, and it's getting you nowhere except further away from what you want.
Well, to be honest, okay. I mean, I know I call them all slackers, and probably not all slackers. I mean, there's this, like, I have six full-time in the store, and probably maybe a couple of them are slackers, and the others are all right, I suppose, but they're influenced by them, and there's one or two of them that I kind of get on reasonably well with. In other words, I can talk to them, but in general, I as far as I'm concerned, I've always treated them as workers. I haven't treated them as I love my wife, so it's easy to make that change. But these are people that I've always seen as just workers, and I hardly even call them by their first name, to be totally honest with you.
Right.
Only when I absolutely have to.
Okay, right.
I guess I've always seen myself as being in the store a very short period of time, and then I'm out of here and gone on to bigger things.
Yeah.
I've been in the store longer than I thought it'd be, which is frustrating me anyway. So I don't know. I'd have to change a lot, to be honest.
How did you begin? Give me one way of responding differently to the workforce that could begin to get you closer to the experience you want, which is to become area manager in the long run. So what's one way of responding differently that you could begin tomorrow? I don't know. In my head at the moment is what I'd love to do tomorrow, which
which isn't anywhere near what we're talking about.
No.
But, what's one thing? Well, okay. I guess one of the things I could do is look over the specific feedback.
Okay.
And maybe look at the different things that's been said.
Yeah.
And see if I can change one or two of those, or do something different that changes one or two of those.
Okay.
Even for a start or something.
Okay.
Maybe I could. I don't know. Okay. Maybe I could give them a little bit more leeway. There are the one or two that I know are kind of slackers, and maybe I should just focus my attention on them as distinct from the others as well, and because I do have to monitor what they're up to.
So when you say give them a little bit more leeway, what do you mean?
Oh, I don't know. I guess it wouldn't be too much, but I suppose not be after them all the time, because I am, and I feel I have to be.
Okay.
So if two of them are gone into the back of the store, for example, and they're in there for any length of time at all, I'm in there rolling it and get back out and what's going on, and then I know from the way they look at me and that they clearly don't like that, and one or two has made comments about it, although none really to my face.
So you're going to do less of that. You're going to do less of sort of being, sort of following around or that sort of on their case all the time.
Okay, let me put it this way. I like what I have been doing for the last couple of months has been disastrous, because the sales have plummeted big time,
right.
And I can't even blame them for that.
Yeah.
Because I know that's me, because I know what's going on.
Yeah.
So if I have to, if I need to change that, then I guess. I guess I have to try and change something in there in the way we communicate.
Okay.
And like there are a couple of them that I I do have a bit of respect for. Although in fairness, I probably don't show it.
Right. Okay.
Because if I showed it to them, like I don't know, I'd have to show it to the others as well, kind of thing. So I guess I could. I don't know, maybe use them as a link between, or bring them on board. Or talk to them, ask them about how things are, and ask them about personal stuff. I never do that.
So ask them about personal stuff. So engage with them on a more human level almost. So
yeah, this is what my area manager has been kind of, I suppose, telling me for quite a while.
Okay, so you're going to look over the feedback in detail.
Yeah.
And the suggestions as to what to do in terms of making changes for yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
And start to see what you can implement, but specifically as well, look at ways of engaging with some of the staff members, at least to begin with, in a way that's more respectful, friendly, showing interest, genuine interest in those who you can to begin with, and not being on their cases all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I have to do something. Like even as I hear you saying that back to me, I'm thinking, geez, I really have to have a personality makeup or complete change. But there are a couple of people that I do get on with, and I guess I could certainly do with them,
right.
And maybe even talk to one of them in particular about because I know the sales.
Yeah.
The sales figures have dropped alarmingly,
right.
And I might just talk to them about that and say, look, we're going to have to do something here to get these sales figures back up.
Yeah.
Have you any ideas? And maybe I'll start doing stuff like that, because I don't tend to ask them, because.
Okay, so you'll include them more, and you'll seek their opinions and feedback on how to improve things.
Yeah.
Okay, because keep in mind the purpose behind this for you personally, which is to progress in the company. So there's a very positive intent here for you to make these changes. So it isn't about a personality transplant. It is just about small little things and small things, bit by bit, and they're on paper for you to make the changes for anyway. So if you were to respond, like we said, in a way that says, if the stuff is true, if you were to accept even for a moment that the stimulus is true, the feedback is true, then what do you need to do to get the outcome you want? That it is as simple as that. I know it's not necessarily easy, but keep it simple. And the things you've identified there, if you can begin to do that, you will see change, both in yourself and those around you.
Right. Okay.
So I want you to monitor your progress and to sort of notice the responses you're getting from the team around you as you engage in these ways, subtle ways sometimes, but deliberately changing the way you're interacting with them. And notice the way you're responding. Pay attention to that. That's very important. Realize that how you're responding is getting you the experiences you're getting. So notice that more and pay attention to that over the next week. Because I want you to come back next week. I know I'll be around here next week, but I want you to come back next week and give me an update and check in and see how things are progressing. And I suppose we can hopefully then you'll get an even stronger sense of how this actually works in practice and that it's constantly working, whether you're aware of it or not. And the more you can become aware of it, the better your life.